How are we doing with you?
So the dialogue's been great. Appreciate all the input. What I'm going to be going over is some of the options that we've considered on how you can take this existing building without adding to it and being able to get more functionality out of it. Some of our analysis is we see throughout all the communities we work in at various levels and degrees is, how many different functions can you get within a community clubhouse? And we see there's a big trend, and it's been a big trend for a number of years, to get more recreational aspects, not just a pool, but fitness facilities, places for people to gather that are more functional than this space. And like Greg mentioned, the code compliance. So what we did is we came up with 2 schemes, floor plans that I'm going to show you, and then we also came up with a site plan that shows kind of an additional recreational amenity that this community may be interested in. So the first drawing I have up on the screen here is we call the Teen Center scheme, which keeps the Teen Center as a program for the youth in this facility. And what we've done is above here, this is the first floor. This is the first floor. And the main entry, and the room we're in is right here, but the main entry is right here. And one of the problems with the entry is when you come in, as you know, the stair is right in front of you, and we're trying to think of a way you can configure that stair so it doesn't just consume the entry. So what we looked at doing is pushing the stair off to the side, and we made this more of like a small entry lounge that allows the administration and people who control this facility to have the ability to create a reception area right here. There's a reception desk or a greeter. So when people come in, they can control who's coming in and out of the facility. This showing the stair here, and then it would be moving of a door, but we're proposing, keeping the same windows in the locations that are here, except for we're proposing to upgrade those to something more energy efficient as far as fenestration. And then behind that, number 3 is the administration area, and number 4 is an office. So those functions were occurring over here. We've moved them over here to free up more space for the restrooms and lockers that are required. Actually, the restrooms and showers that are required for the pool. So we took, by code, we took the square footage of the pool. It tells us from that size of that pool how many lockers and how many bathrooms are necessary for a pool of this size. Also, in addition to that, we would also propose that you can use these for any kind of fitness activities that occur in the building. If you're having aerobic classes or cardio equipment on the second floor, or any kind of fitness activity on the second floor, they can use this locker room shower facility for that as well. On the second level, actually a couple more items here on the first level. There's some pool storage, some relocation of mechanical equipment, and some additional storage in this location off the office area. On the second floor, what we're proposing, because their views are so amazing, and in all these second floor spaces, that we can take the current teen center and turn that into like a community room for clubs to meet, for people to gather, bring friends there, make it very comfortable, bring in some nice furniture. The bathrooms would be upgraded to be compliant to ADA requirements of current code, and take the existing bar room and make it more like a game room where you can put in card tables, maybe add a pool table in there. And you can see here, we're trying to think of things that affect all the generations, to make this truly a community facility for everybody, and make it more than just a pool facility. The banquet space we're in, what we propose, we're showing large tables here, but this space would be more functional if it was actually divided into possibly into 2 spaces with a partition system that can be open and closed, so you can actually, utilize it for a smaller group or a smaller activity that could be in here. Dance lessons could occur when another activity is here. The 19 and 20 is our more fitness-related spaces. 20, the current dancing space that's used, we would say that's still a good use for that space, and you can have any kind of yoga, cardio, group exercises can occur in this space. There's a nice view over the pool, and it's a great environment to do that in with the current dance floor that's there. 19 and 21 is where the current kitchen is. We think the kitchen's not being utilized right now. There's a lot of good equipment in there, but we feel that there would be a better utilization of that space to add some fitness equipment, not to the size of, normally communities of 3,000 people or more, we would almost use half this building for fitness equipment, but if the demand's not there and you need something better than, I won't say a hotel, but something better than that, you can add some cardio equipment in this space and the people would have some place to go to exercise. And then we said, okay, let's take this back area, have its own separate access from the outside, and this could be the new teen space over here. Because we feel very strongly that this space on end where the current teen space is would make a great kind of community gathering club room type space.
Could we ask a question, please?
Sure.
There is nowhere in that plan a place for a kitchen for large gatherings. So.
I'll show you the next one.
But this is the building, is it?
We have two plans. My second option has what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
One thing on this one. If this is not such an isolated community, we have fitness centers around, we have things in Middletown. Why would we want to put ourselves at risk?
Well, a lot of facilities that people we work with, you're not having to pay.
Nothing is free. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Golf isn't free. And
there wouldn't be club dues here to be able to work out here.
Okay.
Well, it occurred to more than one of us that probably, it'd be my guess that over 50% of the members probably do not golf. And why don't we postpone the big project of redoing the golf course area and spend some money really developing this place, putting in bocce ball courts and very big tinker ball courts, and where the whole community can really take advantage of this site, that it's beautiful. I wouldn't mind spending the money then. And then worry, I can't see spending all the money on the golf course and not most of us don't golf, Anyhow.
Yes, in the back?
So you only want the amenities you want? You only want the amenities that you have a desire to use? I don't understand your position at all. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am?
I was going to say, one thing about our community, the first thing that anybody from the outside sees is down at Hartman. And, I golf occasionally, but I'm a tennis player. And I like to do a lot of things in this community. So I'm not going to go for one or the other, but I think down there is just as important as up here.
Yeah, we agree 100%.
As important.
What has to happen here in your community is whatever is done has to be for everyone.
Right.
It has to be for everybody. And it has to be a community facility, not golf or, we have all types here, all age groups. And our goal is to try to create, with these amenities, not just in this building, but we'll be looking at that one as well, on a facility that will be a benefit to your whole community. That's our goal.
And to our property value.
Actually, yes. Yes, ma'am.
On the end now, the teen center, and then you said, I have two questions, that you would propose to change it to an area for clubs. My questions related to that is the seating capacity for that room and the seating capacity with tables. And and then I'm not sure where the teen center went.
Yeah, I'll show you the next plan that I can answer that question for you.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Oh, the-
Terry, the teen center locations, yeah.
the current the teen center was relocated here.
Okay.
Did he say those round things are tables?
Yes, sir?
Yeah, just
Sorry.
Your evaluation premise, I keep talking about 3,000 people. I'm not sure, with 3,000 lots, you only have 3,000 people. So how does that work into the picture when using that figure right along?
He said 3,000 or more.
Yeah, 3,000 or more. We typically will see, as far as the total square footage of amenities between this building and the clubhouse down at the bottom, it depends. Every community is different, and surveys and information coming from the membership and these kind of forums is what identifies what your community wants. So that's why we're here discussing this. That's why we're soliciting your feedback. We are proposing to try not to build a very large facility and add on a bunch of square footage and add a lot of cost. What we're trying to do is work within the framework of what you have here. And I'm going to show you a site plan where we did add an additional amenity that would expand this to something bigger that would accommodate more people. But is that?
So if we have 7,000 people here, does that change the premise of your design?
It depends on what the community needs and desires are. If half this community would prefer not exercising here and working out somewhere else, then that would change the direction we go. It's feedback that we need to get.
Oh, you don't have that yet?
We don't have a survey that says we need this. We're getting direction from input that was given from previous data that we received.
See, I would think that, and I'm trying not to make it about this, but let's just talk about a fitness center. If that were to come in, that means equipment, that means you have to have staff here at the fitness center. You just can't leave people willy-nilly. There's insurance questions. There's how much would you charge people to use the fitness center? And would we be in a negative situation rather than even a break-even situation? I think there's all those kinds of things, and this is all very well and good, but how many people would pay something to go here when they can go down the block? Okay, I'm saying, I know there are people that would, but you can go down the block and get the same thing. It's not like you have to go 10 miles.
The goal is to right now to sort of identify all the opportunities, and all these analysis and feasibility studies is what we were talking about earlier. That's got to happen between now and November, when there's votes and those kind of things that really make the final decisions.
Question, please. Has the number of homes which have converted to renter homes been taken into account when we're calculating costs and whatnot? And the reason I ask that is non-owner occupied homes are going to be less likely to want to put any money into these facilities, putting an increased burden on those of us who are owner occupied and or cause a situation where we can't afford it because they do not want to contribute.
I can answer that question. Actually, every one of those homes that has a tenant is owned by someone that is a member of the association, have equal standing. Our numbers show us that the number of homes that are rented in our community has been relatively stable for quite some time. It stands, Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, at about 20%.
That's a pretty high number. It's a pretty high number.
15? Tammy says it's actually been running closer to 15%. So. Well, you might if we get some nice amenities. Oh.
Let's take one more question, and I'm going to talk about the second option. Yes, ma'am.
I guess that was part of my question. I'm assuming this is just one of the plans that you're looking at, because I would be really concerned about losing the kitchen here unless the plans for the other facility include a good kitchen, a large kitchen in a large space like this, because it's my understanding that the Commons Committee is currently working on events and plans and things that will make this building more utilized. So, and once we don't have the kitchen, you know, it'll never come back. So,
And that's the scheme, that's perfect, because I'm going to talk about that with this second option that's up on the screen right now. Basically, what you see here, the first floor is still very much the same as what you saw on the previous scheme. What we did is primarily modify this portion of the building. So what you see here is there's 3 basic spaces, and in these 3 basic spaces, they can be connected to each other, and you can get, with 8 top tables, roughly 96 people, and with 4 top tables, you can probably get up to 120 within this space. We thought that in addition to that, you'd probably want some sort of catering kitchen and some storage area for tables and chairs to reconfigure it. The catering kitchen is more effective use if you serve food. The food is cooked down at the facility below, brought up here. There's warming, there's refrigeration, there's area for people to set up buffets, that kind of thing. That this is a much more functional space for banquets than a full service kitchen where you have to staff it.
Yes.
So that was our second recommendation, an option that you can look at. What this is lacking is the only fitness component that would be here would be like what you have now, and that's the dance floor group exercise space with no equipment. The teen center is not in this option. We did have some discussions, though, about creating maybe something down below here, maybe the dungeon or some place where they can hang out. I mean, they're not picky about windows and exposure. They just want to have a place they can hang out. So, yes, ma'am.
It looks like one big issue that we need to discuss is whether we want this to be a food serving facility or not. My question is, why have 2 places that serve food? We have a good kitchen here, why not move it down there and enlarge that building so that you can have other activities like this down there? Because the kitchen has been here for years and people are not using it.
We're told we cannot use it. That's right. It's not that we don't.
No, I think what your suggestion is something that we've been having discussions about, and that is part of the work that we will be doing, is analyzing that facility as well and trying to address exactly what you said and making that building down there for the community, not just the golfers. I mean, you have a beautiful amenity down there, and it could be a wonderful dining experience, and it could be a dining experience that the whole community can embrace. An experience where you don't have to walk through the bar to get to your dining space. An experience that there's a lot of things that we saw down there that, because of the configuration of that building, it's problematic. So we're in the process right now of analyzing options for that building as well, and we're addressing your question. Yes, sir.
With this configuration, would we still be able to provide food for the swing? Right now, I think they have a grill and they can order fries and things like that.
Well, let me show you one other drawing.
Go away, or is that still okay with you?
No, actually, there's one other drawing here I haven't shown you. I can get to it. There we go. This is the site plan that we looked at, and some of that food can happen. What this pool lacks is a barbecue area. It lacks, so what we're suggesting is, and this doesn't really totally address what you're asking for. I think a snack bar still makes some sense somewhere. I think we need to look at that, because kids like popsicles, and I mean, it's, it makes sense. And I think that's something, that's good feedback. We'll look at that. But what we wanted to do was look at the current site and try to configure it in a manner that there's additional functions that can occur here. So you can see here's the existing building. We're in here. The current lap pool that's here. We think this deck on this side of the lap pool needs to be expanded to be more useful. We even looked at the idea of maybe introducing a kid's water slide or kid's play pool area here. Another small tot play pool here. Keep the existing pool structure or a pool equipment structure here. Add a barbecue, kind of a lawn area. So what we've done is expanded the pool deck towards the parking lot and put in, suggesting some picnic tables and maybe that bocce court that somebody mentioned earlier. And have that, because the picnic area, bocce court, and all that stuff works really well together. And then we reconfigured the parking to become a little more efficient without much destruction with existing vegetation. And looked at possibly pushing these propane tanks down the hill further to get more access, easier access to them. And then the big change you see here is creating a different driveway and handicap stalls right closer to the front door and a drop-off area out front that gives people a little easier in inclement weather to be able to drop people off there. And then the big brown space here is what would happen if we were at a gym. A gym for many different things, volleyball, basketball, large group gatherings, aerobics, those kind of things. So this is a full court basketball gym as another option.
Could that gym possibly have a area that could incorporate the teen center in the gym area?
That's a possibility too. I mean, they're obviously going to be using it as well as I'm sure all of you hopefully would use it as well. Yes, sir.
Yeah, back to the idea of dining. It sounds like both of your plans for this building include a dining area for this area. And yet you talk about the Hartman facility having a major kitchen and a beautiful dining experience. I think one of the problems we've had with this building is that they try to hold dining functions here and then to shuttle all the food up from down below, and it's very labor intensive. And I thought we were going to try to get away from that.
Yeah, I think on the first scheme I showed you, our vision was more a club room, a club space, a gathering space, not so much a dining space. I mean, I guess you could have a small buffet, maybe a community buffet up here you could, but you will need to have some kind of catering space to stage that. So I think that's a good comment. I mean, if the desire of the community is to do those kind of activities in here, we'd probably want to add a small catering kitchen to be able to prepare small things. Yes, ma'am. You know what? You guys got the most amazing view looking out this way. It's incredible. And, having some sort of private or hot tub looking out over that valley would be absolutely incredible. Good input. Good idea. Well, I mean, it would be more like a spa, not necessarily a hot tub, just a large spa. Another idea?
Yeah, one other thing. If you have like a little game room, how come the teen center can't just be this whole area? They only use it once or twice a week, right?
Well, that's a good idea too.
They get their own space for once or twice a week.
Yeah, maybe this doesn't make sense to be a club space, and maybe it wants to be a teen center, this space. I mean, you can do a lot of recreation. I mean, it could be. Yes, ma'am.
We got to the second diagram, how on where the teen space was, and you said you made it a club room. My question was, how many, what's the seating capacity in that room, and what is the seating capacity with tables in that room?
Go back to that. This drawing?
Where you took the teen center away, I think it's that one.
Yeah, this one.
Number 12.
Oh, in here? Well, right now, we're showing maybe up to, in a scenario as we show it, it's probably 20 people. If it's a, like a cocktail party or some party in there, standing room, and get probably double that in there. I mean, it depends on how you want to use it. If you guys have a lot of small clubs, like a cycling club or a sewing club or whatever, and you need a place to come, or if somebody wants to come and have coffee there in the morning, they can sit in that space and do that and meet with some friends there.
Take 2 comments on that. We actually do have club space for about 50 seated at the admin building. But if you have a club and try to put tables in there, that doesn't work. Secondly, if you've got those 3 divisions up there, in this present space, that clubs could close doors and meet that. I don't see a need for that room over there.
It's kind of like a community living room. It's not really meant to have large gatherings there. That's what these are for. So. Yes, ma'am.
I think there's a lot of need for the teen center to be incorporated, so it sounds like what you've designed is like either as a food and beverage or it's a community teen center. And I would think there would be some way to get a teen center in here. So that's one comment. My other comment is there's a really huge question around dining facilities. And I think that the community needs to decide if they want a dining facility that is basically for members only, which is what I guess this used to be, or do they want to run a restaurant that's open to the public. And the history of trying to run a restaurant that's open to the public has not really been so great. And we need to determine whether or not we're going to be able to fix that problem before we determine if we should build a big restaurant or a public dining apartment. Because really, we don't need 2 kitchen facilities, one down there and one up here.
Yeah, this is a gated community. It's obviously for members, and to run a restaurant facility here would be economically difficult. It's down there, it's a little different. It's has more public access to it.
Right, but I think that a lot of what has happened in the past is that this public restaurant, the burden has been carried by the HBLA residents because of the losses over the years. And so I think that the community needs to decide if they want a restaurant facility up here in lieu of having one down in Hartman.
Up here is a totally different.
This is a question.
You know, I think all questions are valid, and all those will be considered, and we've been discussing back and forth how we're going to handle that, and there's pros and cons for both. Yes, sir.
Terry, would you guys lean towards recommending a survey of the community, organized, well-run, well-thought-out survey that would help you in your design efforts?
Actually, there's no surveying in their contract. They're here to help us with design issues. So your question and your suggestion really goes to the board of directors.
Well, I'm wondering, do they have a recommendation, is my question.
Could we use a survey? We'll take any consensus information we can get to do what we got to do, whether it's community forums like this and multiples of these, or surveys, or any information that really embodies the will of the community. That's what we need.
David, also the survey that was done by the Commons Committee was provided to the architectural firm.
Right. In the back.
You had mentioned something about elevators. Where is that?
We're not showing elevators in any of these plans at this point. The idea would be is if we had to do that, it would probably be somewhere on this plan in this location, or when you come in, we'd have to change the location of the reception desk and put it over in this corner so that when you come up, it doesn't affect this bridge that comes across here. And the elevators are usually, what we're seeing, anywhere between, what, Greg, 50,000 to 60,000, you think? 70,000? They're up more now? Okay. Hard for me to quote that, but about 140 with the, yeah. Yes, sir. Rick?
Instead of a elevator, can you use what's they call a people lift, similar to what sometimes people put in homes?
Like on the attached to a stair?
Yes.
They're usually not considered ADA compliant. Yes, sir.
This might be best addressed by Bill or the board. There was a survey done some years ago that one of the outcomes of that survey was that the pool was going to be kept open year-round and accessible 24/7 with a card key. That played a major decision in my purchasing here, having that pool available, year-round. That's apparently been ignored. So I'd like to know, is that still on the agenda? And how might it affect, what we're doing here?
Yeah, I was going to ask that question because I had two people ask that. Terry, on your site plan, what are the possibilities of a covered pool?
Yes.
Yeah, we've usually what we do is we end up building a whole building with a covered pool all embodied in it with a track and all that on the second floor, but that doesn't make sense here, obviously. And what we would look at looking at something that could be done. It doesn't need to be attached to the building. In fact, seismically, it's better that it's not attached, and there are options to be able to cover this pool. We'll obviously put that in our analysis when we start looking at cost for this. It's an option. It's an option to be looked at. Yes, ma'am. Is that finished?
What is preventing us from keeping the pool open year-round right now without any of this?
Bill, do you want to answer that now, or you want to address that?
We did this survey, we had an outcome from it, and it's been ignored.
Actually, the survey was before I was here, but I remember the board having some discussions about the issue of year-round pool at a couple of our budget sessions, and they've looked at costs related to that. Last year, for example, there was a fairly substantial amount of work done on that concept of having a year-round pool. And at that time, the board chose not to do it relative to the costs associated with a year-round pool. So it's an issue for the board, really, not for Terry or Greg. And I've got it down here, and we're going to follow up on that, because one of the things that could easily be incorporated into this project is something like a covered pool, maybe one of the inflatable types or something like that. So,
I just swam outside in all weather for years, and I don't see a covered pool myself, but it'd be nice if we're heated and there are showers nearby. That would be good.
That area where the teen center is now, you talked about doing that living room kind of thing. When you walk up the pathway to the building, there's that overhang that you walk under. Could that be decked up on top and created a room up there overlooking the lake?
You mean the flat canopy over that comes in?
Over the
Well,
walkway.
that canopy is not designed to carry people on it.
But could they?
You would have to-
To the building that we could expand out that way so we could get that.
So
beautiful-
have a deck coming off the building. There's other ways to do that. You can actually cantilever some structure and use some braces to come off and support it. It's cost, but the view is great. Look in both directions, and just having some windows and being able to use that space would be wonderful.
I think your sketches showed the decking, did it? Because
The decking out here?
yeah,
It's what's dashed in. It's dashed in right here, and on the other drawings it shows the same.
Okay, so on the food and beverage scheme, your seating capacity, when you were talking about in the rooms, was that included? Seating
No.
in there?
No. And we've done a lot of projects where we've done, it's difficult here because we need all these columns to hold the structure up, but a lot of times what we'll do is do walls that open up, and those walls will extend the seating capacity to the outside. And it's a good way to get more capacity without heating and cooling such a large space. And those are options that we can look at as we also analyze what's going on down the hill. If we want to use large banquet spaces down there, but don't want to heat and cool them all the time, there's ways to expand those spaces to the outside to get larger groups. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Looking out the window, it looks like the decking's pretty new. So we would not have to replace the decking, correct?
We're not suggesting that you replace the deck, no. Just use it more often. Yes, ma'am.
What's the purpose of the reception desk?
Well, in most of these facilities, this is a private facility. The people that are coming here to swim, people that are coming here to use this facility, a lot of times, Connie and her admin staff, they can control who comes through that front door. And having them located in a position to where they can see that, maybe not a reception desk is necessary, but possibly a window looking into that space, or depends on how you control who comes and goes in the pool. It's why we suggested that.
So that would be separate from the pool entrance we already have?
Yeah, we're relocating that function to the main entry, not where you currently have it. Because what's happened is we've expanded that area where it currently is to become a shower, toilet, locker facility that's sorely undersized and not ADA compliant, not even close.
So that reception area, you can either go into the pool or somewhere else? I mean, like, is it like a gate into the building?
No. What we've done is taken your current entry of your current entry is right here. And what we've done is made more use out of it other than a stair right in the middle. And we moved the stair and we put some seating and we created an area for the admin staff to be able to greet people when they come in and control who comes in.
How do you get it to the pool?
Through this door, through here. And then you have access to the pool deck, to these men's and women's lockers areas right through this location on the ground floor. Over to this side.
Best time I've ever had in my 11 years of living here was an Easter brunch that was held in this room. When you don't have all this covered with paper, you've got the most spectacular views in both directions of the lake and the golf course. So I'm going to be very depressed if we give up having any kind of food service here. And when the lady mentioned maybe switching it up about the food, I don't think she was saying we don't need any food down there. I think she was saying maybe the members would come out more and dine together if we weren't dining with people getting off work and going to have a beer in their painting shirt, and where our kids could be with us, and it's our families and our neighbors and our invited guests, and they can have a tuna and burger stand for the golfers and the bar people to have until dark and not necessarily have a bar open till 1 o'clock in the morning, and us subsidizing the public using it. That's what I...
If it's done right, that should be able to stand on its own. If you have enough desire in this community to have an expanded menu, have a nice place to dine, to really see how beautiful it is down there. All the non-golfers that it's a gorgeous site around. What we're suggesting, you'll see, what we're suggesting will be a golf facility that does have views. That's surrounded by like a park, but it's a golf course. That feeling. Okay, who's next? Were you next? Yeah.
Supposing they're going through, where we go through now, entryway through there to the pool area, and there's, I'm sure there's a station there, I presume, as check-in like usually in the pool. Is there to prevent anyone from going upstairs to get into the rest of the building when they should be?
There's no blocking of access for, the way you go upstairs would be you'd have to check in here, you'd have to go to that point and you come up. So if someone wants to pass the desk and go upstairs because they're meeting somebody in the community room, the membership can do that.
Isn't there a card key system, right? So that people who are members have just like a barcode on the card and get a member ID card key system, right?
That's another way to do it. It could be both. Those are details that assuming this kind of plan goes forward, those are kind of details that we can look at. Yes, ma'am.
I realize this was mentioned in passing later, and when they started talking about the heated pool, it triggered me again. I'm wondering if there has been any effort to do a feasibility study on installing solar. And the reason I ask this is because the price of installing solar is going down and the cost for electricity is going up. I don't know about the rest of you, with smart meters, I'm paying more for electricity. And I imagine the rest of you are too, and it's only going to go up. And the question I have is, would it be feasible? I know the state's doing some financing for, and through private enterprise for residential. Is there anything available for a facility such as ours? It might be a way of us saving money far in the future. And I just feel that it should be something we at least look at and consider when we're making our plan.
And I think we agree 100%. And in fact, I'm sorry I neglected to point out that on the site plan, we were suggesting some solar for the pool heating, but also on the roof up here, if we do the gym, you can also put photovoltaics for electrical as well. There's a lot of roof area up there. Since this community is very dependent on electricity, and I think it's very much just as you mentioned, the cost is coming down, and there's analysis you can do to see if it makes sense.
Has that been done, or is it
Not at this time.
anybody thinking, even thinking?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
That's why it's on the plan.
I meant within the community. No, yes. I have another reason for asking this, because I think that if we could get if we had a big project going, and we could get someone up here to do a big project, they would be more open to doing the smaller projects like my roof and your roof. There's no place in California that's a better place to be doing solar.
I happened to work with Solar City. They just did a $500 million deal with Goldman Sachs, and they have a number of different programs where there's free installation, free monitoring, free maintenance. And I can arrange for people to get either a commercial quote and definitely a residential. Matter of fact, Jim can tell you I haven't had any coming in his magazine, but there's all kinds of programs out there now. Solar City is the largest in the country, and they do everything for free. And it's really happening now.
Okay, let's take the solar discussion offline. These gentlemen were charged to take a look at the project, and they have included provisions for adding solar hot water heating as well as electricity generation, so it is included.
Let's get this question here. Yes, sir.
We'll take time to fill out the questions on the page, maybe we can start answering some of those questions.
That's great. Just one more.
I just clarifying on the entry, so the entry for the pool and into the facility is going to be the same.
Yes, that's what we're suggesting, yes.
So on a particular night, like tonight we have a swim team and there's roughly 20 kids, 30 kids on a given night, they're going to be, is it carpeted or is it going to be, I mean, I'm just
Probably not carpet, it'll probably be tiled, you know, we got wet feet coming through there, it's,
Okay, so that's not going to be a problem with the swimmers. You know what I'm just trying to kind of clarify that part.
trying to centralize one location of entry to keep control over the facility. Want to go ahead?
Sit down.
and
I do.
let's- let's-
Okay, a lot of really good suggestions. I've been taking notes, of course, but I also have been keeping track of the cards. A number of the questions that came forward are actually questions for the board of directors related to process, cost issues, and some of the other things that will come later in the process. There were a number of them, however, related specifically to design issues. I want to bring those up. For you guys, instead of a catering kitchen, could a small kitchen used by clubs for potlucks and other kinds of events be an option?
We've actually done it a couple ways without getting involved in the commercial code requirements by calling it like a demonstration kitchen or teaching kitchen. And then you can put residential appliances in there. You don't have the hood requirements that are expensive. So that's very much an option. I mean, if you're doing a lot of community events with yourself and you want to heat or cook in there, we can go down that path and make that more that kind of a space, not just a catering kitchen only.
Okay, thank you. Another question, a lot of discussion has been about the teen center. How about getting local teens involved in discussion and how it will be used? So Connie, can we get the teens involved in this? She's shaking her head this way and that way. Another question, which is actually one I can respond to. The general public who use the facility, do they pay for using the building, and if so, how much? Yes, they do. And I can't answer the question how much because it's very complicated how each event is structured. Depends on whether they're having food and beverage service and other such things. But they do in fact pay for utilization of the building. Couple of questions about where we go from here, which I'll answer in a minute. Very important to have a year-round pool. It doesn't have to be covered. This person believes that if we had solar for heating the water, if we had covers on the pool, then we might be able to lower the energy costs enough that it would justify having the outdoor year-round pool. Okay. That's all I have. Okay, anything else about design?
We have another question. Go back here.
Oh, you had it posted.
Well, you said you're going to get my card, so I'll take it now. I need to make a few statements first, and then ask you a question. It seems to me that about 10% of the people who use this building and 100% are going to pay for it. You're looking at 1.9 to 2.5 here. You probably double it when you go down the street to the other building. Now you're talking about homeowners' dues that are going to finance it. Somebody said property values are going up. That's true, they are going up. But let me tell you something. If you double the homeowners in here, the property values are going to go down. Because I just bought here 3 years ago, and one of the reasons I bought was because it looked to me like it was a pretty stable financial situation with respect to the overall budgeting. And I didn't see this coming, of course. And had it been on the horizon, I would have offered less or walked away. So your home values are not necessarily just going to go up because you spend $5 million between these two projects. I do not believe that you're going to ever come close to getting enough participation here that's paid that's going to finance this. It goes back on the homeowner again on your dues. The last thing I want to ask is a question. Will you and the board bring an additional option to the meeting on the 13th that scales this whole project out, jump this building, build something that maybe will hold 100 people for a meeting, if that's what we need for 8% of the people in here? Or do we just spend the $5 million and watch everything go right through the roof, and your home values are not going to go up as a result of it? The participation in here, why doesn't it go up? Nobody can answer that. You answered it. The demographics have changed. 60% of the people used to be retired. Now they're all going to work every day. I'm one of the retired guys now on the fixed income. Start hitting me hard, I'm in trouble. Don't do it. So I'm asking you to give me a commitment, and the rest of these members here a commitment, that you'll also bring back an additional option that scraps this $2 million.
We actually heard your question.
Well, okay, I'll ask for it.
And the board is looking at all the options, including doing nothing. I told you that previously.
Sir, I'm not asking you to do nothing. I'm asking, will you bring back another option that builds a much smaller building and suits the facilities that people need in here? Will you do that so people can take a look at it and decide if that's what they want?
That's not a decision I have to make, but I will talk to the board about it.
Well, I'm asking the board then if they will.
They're not going to make that decision before you tonight in this meeting.
Well, if you don't afford the membership that option, what you've done is box this
That's
in.
your opinion, and
That's
the
right.
gentleman,
It's my opinion, I have
hold
the
on,
right to say it, sir.
I understand, but only you and this gentleman clapped about that. Please, we're talking about design, let's stay focused here.
One thing, no house in here, we own houses, no one does no maintenance on their house. We all have to do maintenance. If you have deferred and you keep leaving it for years, it gets worse and worse. What they've talked about with 1.9 is fixing what has to be fixed. It's just maintenance, and it will also add things that will bring it up to code. And we don't know costs yet, so there's no reason to get all upset about it. We're just getting our costs and figures and ideas right now.
It has to do with costs, which I know will be covered more fully in July. Has the board set aside some funds to help pay for this project? And if so, could I ask how much has been set aside so that we could sort of get a sense of, well, if it's $2.5 million or whatever, what the difference would be?
Okay, did everyone hear the question? It had to do with, has the board in fact been setting aside costs? In fact, we started looking at this project in 2005. And in fact, the board has been setting aside monies for improvements to its existing facilities, including these projects and other things the community might want to do. I can't give you the exact number, but I can give you a number that'll give you an order of magnitude on that. We have two different funds in which we deal with managing the assets of the association. One of those is a reserve fund, which we utilize to take care of existing facilities. The other is a capital improvements fund, which we use for major upgrades or new facilities. For example, the building of a new park, Ravenhill, is an example of a capital improvement that would come out of that fund. The replacing of the roof on the restaurant would be something that would come out of the reserve fund. Okay? So the total combined assets in those two funds projected at the end of this year is just slightly over $4 million. Now, that has to be used for both purposes. We are right now in the process of doing our 3-year revision to the reserve study. Last time we did it was 2010. So once we do that, we will know what portion of that money is required to fund the reserve study. The remainder would be available for other purposes. So I can't answer that. Got another question? I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, now let me go. One more question came up. Will there be an evaluation of operational costs, post-improvements versus current operational costs? Yes, there will. That's part of the process the board has built in so that we can get some idea of how the new facilities would be operated and what that would cost. I also had a couple of other questions that came in relative to process. And I'm going to ask Jim Freeman to help me with a couple of these. Is the slideshow and the information contained therein going to be available online? If so, where? And I want to talk about communications in general. How can you find out more about the project? There's going to be a number of ways. We've already had 2 editions of the HVLA Views that have had multiple articles in them. We will continue to have information about the project in every single month of the HVLA Views through the end of the year. We also on our website are going to have a link to project information, ongoing project information, like these drawings. When we start getting the financial information, it'll go on that link. When we get information about operational costs, it'll go on that link. We also, as you notice, have been taping this meeting this evening for the benefit of folks who might not have been able to attend. We will be taping all 6 meetings, the workshops and the regular meetings. We will have a YouTube link for the workshop and forum videos. It's on the bottom, the back of your agenda tonight. So it'll take a while to get that loaded up, but after every meeting, within a few days, members who might come up to you and say, gee whiz, what happened? You can tell them how to get to this link.
That's excellent, Bill. Thank you.
So what else? We're going to have a number of mailings. Basically, we'll have a mailing prior to every single meeting. The mailing that went out this week, you all got that, and it told a little bit about what was going to happen tonight. We'll be doing the same for the other meetings. We are also going to be having email blasts that will go out prior to each forum to remind people about the forums. Now, what's going to be happening behind the meetings? One thing we're going to be doing is a summary of all the discussion tonight by the audience is going to be going out in this next mailing, very summarized, but then links to the website telling people where to go to get all the information that transpired tonight. So this will help people that are unable to attend a meeting. How else are we going to try to communicate? We are going to be having, at every single event that happens this summer, we have some volunteers that are going to be handing out information about meetings, what people can expect at the meetings. We've been talking to a number of the different clubs. We're asking for volunteers. There's actually a little handout that you saw when you came in. If we're not asking about what your opinion is, we're only asking about would you be willing to help get more people out to the meetings. And we're not asking you to do cold calls to people who are strangers to you, but simply contacting a few of your own acquaintances, either by telephone or email. So if you're willing to do that, sign up for one of those sheets and we'll get you the information on the timing of that. Now what's in this besides the agenda? On the back is the schedule of all the meetings that we'll be having. And I do want to point out at the forums, we will be having children's programs conducted in this building so that parents with children can come and pay attention to the forum and not have to worry about taking care of their children. As I said, there is a workshop and a forum for each of the 3 phases we're going through. Next question was about member feedback by doing a survey using member email. And it's an idea we've talked about quite a bit. There are a number of vendors in the area that, I mean online, that do allow some kind of a survey feedback information. But for now, we have a place where you can make any comments you wish relative to the project. Lady back here said, well, you know, sometimes I want to look at the drawings, think about it a bit, and then come up with some additional ideas. Jim, how's this Facebook thing work?
This is from a guy who doesn't own a TV or a cell phone. It's on Facebook. Who doesn't know about Facebook? Okay, look, 3 of the board. Okay. Okay, it's on Facebook, so you can reply to Facebook and you'll see it. It's the facilities design and planning. This is it right here. That's the logo. There's a direct connection, direct link from our own Facebook page. There will be a direct link on our own website. You can also search and you'll get it. So you can make any comment you want and it'll come back to us. We have to take a minor break here. Change the
That's about all we had. I do want to tell you a little bit about what to expect at the forum on July the 13th. First of all, the work today and your comments, all of that will be revised and will come back to you. At that meeting, we will start looking at the Hartman facility site and conceptual plans, very similar to what you've seen tonight, only regarding the other facility. The probable construction costs for these various options will be available at the next meeting as well. So when you start to look at it, do I like this option or that option, at least you'll have some order of magnitude cost. Well, this option costs this much and that option costs that much. That'll be really helpful to evaluate whether you think there's enough value in some of these proposals relative to what they would cost. And then lastly, the Finance Committee is going to try to come up with this idea that David brought forward. He actually is on the Finance Committee, of what is that financial feasibility of the project, how much money do we have already, what would it look like as far as the commitment for the members for funding. So that'll be only a feasibility study. The final financing plan won't happen until we actually get final construction costs. But that'll give you a rough idea of is it feasible or not, and how comfortable am I with where this is going. Okay, question back here?
I'd just like to say you've done an excellent job of facilitating the meeting tonight, and I encourage people to continue to go to the meeting to give your input about the building being built, and the only way, don't complain if you don't like it, come and give input. That's all I have to say.